Welcome back, and what a delight to have in the studio with us today, Bob Strosser. He's certainly no stranger to a lot of folks in Medford. He's served on the city council for about 16 years, and now he feels led to run for Jackson County Commissioner position number 2. And we just wanted to kind of chat with him and find out what's going on. First of all, I want to say, Bob, thank you for your years of service on the council.
Thank you very
It's
much.
a lot of extra hours outside of your normal day, right?
It is, but you know, let's be honest. I have a passion for doing that, so it was something that I was dedicated to. I mean, I've spent most of my adult life in service.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you're not quite an adult yet, so you're still getting there, right?
It's still young at heart.
There you go. Well, listen, you feel led to go over to Jackson County Commissioner position number 2. Why are you doing this? What's on your heart here?
Well, this is our home. This is the county we live in, and I'm, as I stated, passionate about service.
Oh.
And I think I might have something to offer. I've got a long history of experience and credentials in terms of things that I've been involved in to make a constructive difference. Mm-hmm. And I think the time is right. I'd considered it, and issues really weren't lining up before. You know, I had to make sure family things were okay and stuff like that, and now they did, and I've had a lot of people encourage me, and so I bit into the apple, and there we are.
All right, let me just say to our viewers and listeners, you can go to votebobstrosser.com is his website, and also Facebook, but it's votebobstrosser.com is his website. Well, Jackson County is an interesting place, and I have interviewed a lot of commissioners over the years, and one thing that I hear constant is, A, a great place to live, B, we've managed it pretty well considering all the other counties and issues and problems, and especially in light of the dwindling, if not gone, O&C funds. How would you assess the county today?
I think they've done a credible job, and the O&C issue is going to be with us for a long time. I mean, the 1937 Act and the intent of it and the design of it, there were many things that occurred, and in fact, the resource management plan that BLM is currently doing, they're the management entity for the O&C lands, the 18 counties. They did that because of litigation that was solved in 2000, and then President Bush actually got some stuff passed that would have solved this. Unfortunately, it was repealed in the first year of Obama's administration. So here we are today, fighting over how much timber can be harvested, how we can help support ourselves versus having the federal government provide things to us to make us beholden.
Beholden, that's a good way of saying. So, at the 30,000-foot view of that, if we were able to manage the O&C issue to our liking, that would be a self-supporting issue for us, wouldn't it?
You'd put people to work. It would help our economy. It would give us control over lands that we should have some say on, and that's part of the issue with BLM is we're not recognized as a coordinating, cooperating agency.
No.
We're just not given that courtesy. They don't recognize the policies and needs of the county, and that's true with the other counties.
All right, so what else do you want to do? What else do you want to see happen at the county?
Well, what I want to see is what we all would like, the government of the people and common sense leadership, one that includes people. We've got a diverse economy here. We've got the ranchers, the farmers, the city dwellers. All of them need to be represented. And the other thing that I want to accomplish is there's always been a little bit of back and forth between cities and counties. And I think it'd be a good idea, if I were a county commissioner, to go and visit their city council meetings.
Well, you've been on one for a long time.
And I know how important it is, the relationship. I've also been on the League of Oregon Cities board. And most of the members of the League of Oregon Cities are small communities, and every voice is important. I want people to feel like they're heard. When they say something that it actually matters, somebody represents them.
You know, another part of this, Bob, is that from what I understand, Jackson County infrastructure is now in place for attracting some good businesses here. We have, you know, and I'm talking technology infrastructure as well. There's been some work done on that. How do we make expanding and building and attracting businesses easier?
We try and make our regulations not onerous.
How do we do that?
How about reasonableness? Mm-hmm. You know, sometimes it's far too easy to just pass this or that costs business money. And we're forced with some unfunded mandates. One of them is the minimum wage.
Yeah, here it comes at us.
Here it comes. Small business is going to hurt.
Yeah.
And small business is the heart and soul of what supports our economy. By the way, we need to try and retain what we've got, not just build new.
Okay. Yes, and hopefully we can. I realize now the state's done this minimum wage thing, and that's something that's going to be forced over the top of us. I think we've seen fallouts of this in other states, like what happened in Seattle when they did it. They had lost a ton of jobs. I guess we have to grin and bear and see how this is going to play out. But just in attracting new business, is there a way to go outside the area and say, hey, take a look at Medford?
Yes, Amy's Kitchen might be an example. I remember going to lunch with them before they came here to say basically, we would love to have you here. And later it deteriorated to an argument between two governors, one of California and one of Oregon.
Yeah.
And they did locate here.
Yeah, okay. What else you see going on?
You know, our economic growth, a lot of that is tied to our ability to help control our own destiny in terms of the O&C funds. A better future, maintaining what we like, protecting what we like about this valley, attracting business, and supporting it with a trained workforce. In other words, keeping our educational institutions strong. Mm-hmm. I've already talked about my view of service, which every voice is important, the politics of inclusion. Mm-hmm. I want people to feel like they matter and not feel distanced from the government that they've elected to represent them. And the mission, basically, I believe that if we work on our economic issues, we'll stop exporting our most important resource, which is our kids who have to go elsewhere to look for a job. Mm-hmm. I want them to feel like they can stay here in the valley that we love to.
Are we safe in this valley? I mean, we've done a lot in building
public
a
safety,
sheriff's department and all
public
that.
safety needs some work. I mean,
where and how?
Well, the first thing is we've got to have proper staffing and proper. The reason for the closure of the basement and the 60 beds in the jail facility was the lack of staffing to supervise it. So what we're doing is this revolving door with people. Now they do a risk assessment, which is credible when they're forced by budget constraints to do that. But we're putting the same people out, and they may not be a threat physically to life safety, but they're stealing, they're burglarizing, they're hitting the cars. Right. You've seen the rash in the newspaper. Right. I don't know how many dozens and dozens of those. And by the way, mine was one of them.
Oh, really?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Smashed windows out of it. They did far more damage than anything they got in the vehicle.
Right.
We're putting the same people out there. They don't maintain steady jobs. So what do? They steal.
Okay, so when we cut the jail back, that was a staffing issue.
That was a staffing issue.
So that becomes a budget issue.
Becomes a budget issue.
By the way, when you do a crime revolving door, it bogs the court down in addition to everything else. I mean, the whole thing is kind of a
It's not that there's so many people
effect.
doing bad things. It's the same people doing a lot of things. Yeah. And as they get released time after time after time, there's certainly not much consequence they see in the short run.
Is there budgetary flexibility to solve this problem?
I think the county has been well run, and I think the budget committee has done a good job. I think they need to work with the sheriff, and I think there need to be some improvements in the staffing there. I mean, we could look nearby and see some of the troubles for not having proper staffing.
Yeah. Water,
riparian issues. In terms of water, there's two facets of that. You know, you've got your urban water supplies, which Medford Water Commission contracts with a lot of people to do that. But in the county areas, it's sort of, you develop land and you've got to figure out whether you got water or not or have it trucked in. Mm-hmm. They really don't have regulations about rural subdivision and water.
Thank the good Lord, we had a good winter.
Yes.
We have an incredible snowpack. We're expecting these reservoirs and lakes to be filled, which is going to help. But I guess the sharing from one, city to a county and everything, I guess that all works.
The issue of the snowpack, let's start with that.
All right.
It was 7 to 9% of normal last year.
All right.
We're way ahead of that. Our precipitation has been good. I think we're in better shape, but you don't recharge the aquifer in a single year.
Right.
The contract issues, the cities of Eagle Point, Central Point, White City, Jacksonville, Phoenix, Talent, now Ashland, are all served under contract with the city of Medford. They have their own water rights. The Medford Water Commission is a treat and transport entity as opposed to a rural water supplier. And we benefit from very, very low water rates, as well as what happens when that water is used, the Regional Rate Committee, where that is treated at, the effluent. So we've done well in both areas. And we have very good water, and it's expensive. And of course, the Medford Water Commission, it comes from two sources principally, which is the springs during the cold weather months and the river during the warm weather months. And that plant is capable of about 45 million gallons a day, soon to be 65 million gallons a day. But at some point, the demand to run it full year is going to require another treatment plant, and 3 phases probably of that one. We're now building out the 3rd phase of the existing one.
Wow, there you go. Okay, anything else you see you'd like to get accomplished that may be a little bit of a weak spot?
Well, there's always a weak spot. There's always a need. There's never going to be enough budget money. I want our government to run lean, strong, and efficient. And I think our county commissioners who are setting my view of the budget is the level of service our constituents are willing to afford, and it's also the tool to implement the goals that we've set and the policies that we've set. And I think Danny Jordan has been very efficient in what he's done. I think he's a strong county administrator, and I would look forward to working with him as well as the other 2 sitting commissioners who I think are doing a good job, Mr. Dyer and Colleen Roberts.
There has been a lot of talk about the need and the desire for a convention center in Southern Oregon, and it's kind of interesting. I don't know why we don't have one. I think we could attract some major conventions here. Would this be a collaboration of county and cities and municipalities? How would this work? Because people are saying, I don't know if I want to pay for it.
Well, therein lies the rub.
Yeah.
This was looked at back in the early 2000s, and he did a quick survey of 5 convention centers. 3 of them required subsidies.
Right.
So what's needed is an effective survey to say where it should be, and that leads you to the second part of your question, where it should be, because most of it right now is focused on Medford, and that'll be a City of Medford decision.
Because you have I-5, which is terrific, and you got an airport that now can handle just about anything. I mean, this could be an attraction.
It is an attraction, but will it pencil? That's the issue. That's what you need a definitive survey to really establish. My position has always been that if it was able to pencil, it would be a great thing for us. We need to see that in the form of a survey, and there hasn't been one. I know it's being discussed by the City of Medford, and I'm no longer on their council.
Yeah.
But it hasn't historically been the kind of thing I wanted to put on the backs of the public.
Yeah, it's a big deal, but I guess the other solution is some private firm coming into it.
Well, if it makes economic sense, I would think the private sector would jump all over it.
Take all over it. Okay, and then it appears now that, back to the safety issue, that Jackson County Sheriff's Department is one of the best equipped, and we may need some more officers, but the best equipped Sheriff's Department in some of the 36 counties, right or wrong?
I'm not familiar with the level of equipment they have. I would imagine it's fairly contemporary.
Yeah.
I was hired in law enforcement before they even had Miranda rights. So
wait a minute.
when I retired, we had mobile data computers, things like that I was planning for us to have.
Right.
As an administrator, the division was about 200 people
right.
that I had for the police department I worked on. We were projecting forward all of those kinds of things, how to be more efficient with less. Technology can lend a hand in some of the dilemmas we're finding in budget shortfalls. But technology is one of those creatures that it has to work for us, not we work for it.
I agree with that, and I think one of the concerns I hear is, well, we may be well equipped, but we don't have the people to work the equipment.
That is part of the problem. Well, let's take the typical thing. People put in a video surveillance system. Who's monitoring that? Mm-hmm. You just can't sit there.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to be paying attention. And if you want to be proactive in what you're doing in terms of our public safety issues, I want everybody to feel safe in our homes and in our county that we live in. Mm. If we want them to feel safe, we have to have some time called proactive or patrol time. Right now they're bouncing from report to report to call, and they're basically a report taker.
Wow. All right, listen, if you're interested in learning more about Bob's candidacy for Jackson County Commissioner position number 2, you can go to votebobstrosser with 2s.com, votebobstrosser.com. Check it out on Facebook. And the primary's coming up, May 17th, and from there we'll see if you advance up to the general.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah,
here.
and best to you, Bob. Good to see you. We'll see you next time on Focus Today.
I'm Paulina Leiser, producer of Focus Today. Thank you for watching this video, and make sure to check our other videos at theDove.us.